Shalom. This is going to be a continuation of the siege. Okay, this is going to be going into just like in the ancient world, just like in the time of Jerusalem, just like in the time back then where they had they besieged the land, where basically they rationed all the food and they fenced up the walls, so that way, nobody can get out, and they rationed the food. Okay, which is again it's a military tactic that they use, just like they're going to try to do again. It's going to happen again, I'll try to do it in this time as well. And we're already seeing the beginning stages of that now. All right, they're doing that now with this, we're going to go into that. So this is Deuteronomy 28 and 52. So I'm going to go more into the time of this happened in 70 AD. All right, Deuteronomy 28 and 52. It says, and he shall besiege thee in all thy gates. Let's go up a verse so we can see. So we're talking about here. Let's go to. Let's just get to the main point. I wasn't gonna make this too long. Deuteronomy 28 and 52. Okay, so this is going into the time, back then in 70 AD. So we're gonna. That's basically what this is talking about here. Okay, just like in the time of Jerusalem, where again they would have a siege, where the king will ration all the food. Okay, and they're going to do that in this time as well. Okay, so people can come to them for help, so they can trick the masses into coming to them for help, because that's what they want to do. They want to get everybody to trust in them, so that way they can put this device inside of them. All right, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to say, if you want to get your food, if you want to get your water, you got to take this device, this mark of the beast, in order to buy and sell, in order to travel, in order to buy your gas. You're going to need this device in your hand, and that's exactly what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to trick everybody into taking the mark of the beast. All right. And they're not going to tell you that that's the mark of the beast. They're going to try to trick everybody. They're going to try to say, this is good for your health. This is going to help you out, you and your family. Just take it. That's what they're going to say. All right. They're going to try to trick you. So those of us in this truth, we know we are not ignorant of Satan's devices. So we're not going to be tricked by these schemes that he's plotting. We're not going to be tricked by taking that device. We're not going to be tricked. But a lot of people that are simple are going to take it. Those that are simple are going to take it. Deuteronomy 28 and 52. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates until thy high and fenced walls come down, wherein thou trustest throughout all thy land. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land, which the Lord Yahweh Shah thy God have given thee. Right, because this is, again, talking about the time in 70 AD where they caused the siege to come upon the land, and they basically rationed all the food. That's why when you read down further, it explains it on down when you read the rest of it. Just like ancient Egypt, they're doing this again. They're rationing. They're going to ration the food. That's why they're destroying all these different food processing plants, facilities. But Deuteronomy 28 and 55, so that he will not give to any of them of the flesh his children. Let's go back up. Excuse me, I went too far up. Let's go to verse 25 again. Um, 52, excuse me, right here. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates until thy high and fenced walls come down, wherein when thou trustest throughout all thy land. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land, which the Lord Yahweh Shah thy God have given thee. And thou shalt eat the fruit of thy own body, and the flesh of thy sons, and the flesh of thy daughter. Because in the time of Jerusalem, or the siege, basically they rationed all the food, and people would eat their own kids. The time of the siege, it talks about our women sodding their own children. That word sodding goes back to boil. They boiled their own children. All right. It goes back to the Hebrew bashel, which means to boil or to cook. All right. When you look at when they have Sidon, their own children, Sidon goes back to boil, bashel, which means boil or cook. So they would cook their own children in the time of the siege because of the food. The food was rationed. All right. They rationed all the food, so nobody could get there was no food around. So they would eat their own kids in the process. So cannibalism is not a joke, and that's something that happened in the ancient world, and it's going to come back in this time, where they're going to ration all the food just like they did in the ancient world. See, this is why we got to put our trust in the Lord now, Yahweh Shem Shai, so He could give us our food and our water. All right, so we're not supposed to be relying on this system because they could take all this from us in just a moment, and then they're going to try to get us to trust in them. That's all a part of their plan. They try to get you to trust in them. Esau, Edom, the Edomites. They want you to trust in them, but it's all a part of their plan. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates until thy high and fenced walls come down, wherein thou trustest throughout all thy land. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land, which he, the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai, have given thee. So just like in 70 A.D., they're going to do this again. All right, just like back then in the ancient world. But this applies today because they're doing the same thing. As far as coming in with great wrath, coming in, the scriptures say he's going to come with great wrath. Esau is going to come down with great wrath because he knows that he had but a short time. Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, with his military. All right. So as far as them coming in and with great wrath, and not just that, but the siege. The siege is they're coming to siege different areas, that were especially in America. Okay. Like you saw in the video, the 15-minute cities, like I talked about in my last, talked about in my last lesson, or the last videos that you saw. So especially in America, Babylon the Great. All right, they're going to come. They want the people to comply with their mandates. So they want the people to comply with their mandates. If they refuse, they're going to be put into these concentration camps, or these FEMA facilities. Okay, where there's going to be guillotines. Okay, ready to be put to death, and this is all coming, okay? Because persecution is on its way as well. They already got these guillotines set up at these concentration camps. All right. Let's go to verse. Let's go to verse 53. And then and thou shalt eat the fruit of thy own body. This is going into cannibalism. All right, where our people didn't have food back in the ancient world because they took all the food. They rationed all the food. All right. Which again is a military tactic that Esau uses. So this is a old military tactic where basically they will cut off the food supply. All right. And the food and all the other sources, all the other resources, like what they're doing now. They're doing this right now where they're destroying they destroyed over 300. They already destroyed over 300 operational centers. They destroyed over 300 food operational centers, man. And they're paying farmers not to farm. They're paying farmers not to farm either. They're having these chemical attacks on purpose. We know these are all set up. They're having these chemical attacks. All right, over there they already had over there in Michigan and Kismar, Florida. I mean, these different examples. They're starting to go into and then the chemicals are starting to go into the air. They're creating a siege, man. They're trying to create a siege where people are going to run to them for help. This is all a part of their plan. They bring the chaos and then they bring the solution. Order out of chaos, So they bring the chaos and then they want everybody to come to them. So they act as the heroes. They want to act as the heroes. See? So they'll bring the destruction and then they'll try to get everybody to rely on them as the heroes. See? That's just what these devils want to do. They want to bring the chaos and want everybody to rely on them as the heroes when they're actually the wicked of the Bible. But Lord willing, this lesson has been edifying. I'm just gonna close it out here and do a part two because I want to talk more about about this. So all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakak Kodash. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. Shalom.